Solo here, just letting everyone know that unfortunately this episode of the podcast, due to technical difficulties, does cut off about halfway through. So we weren't able to recover the files of this show, and because of this, we've decided to go ahead. We're still going to post this as episode 8, and this is just going to be part 1 of the conversation of this series. We will, however, be back with a part 2 to cover the remaining characters and our thoughts on the series, as well as our review, but we're also going to be including the movie. So once the movie does come out for the series here, we will be coming back to this with a part 2 as a future episode of the podcast. So until then, we do hope you guys enjoy our thoughts here in part 1 of the conversation. So thank you.
All right. It's episode 8 of Noob and Solo Talk Anime Podcast. We're covering Saekano this week. Quick introduction on Saekano. Title is Saekano: How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend, and is a Japanese light novel series by Fumiyaki Maruto, with illustrations by Kurahito Misaki. Fujimi Shobo published 13 volumes between July 2012 and October 2017 under the Fujimi Fantasia Bunko imprint. Summary of the story. Tomoya Aki, a male high school teenager who works part-time to fund his otaku lifestyle, encounters a beautiful girl one day during spring vacation. A month later, he finds out that the girl is his classmate Megumi Kato, who is hardly noticeable to her classmates. Hoping to create a visual novel computer game, he turns to school beauties Eri Spencer Sawamura for designing the art, Utaha Kasumi Gayoka for writing the game scenario, and Tomoya then recruits Megumi to star as the heroine of his game, thus forming the development team Blessing Software, in which the three most renowned students in the school, Tomoya, Eri, and Utaha, work on the least noticeable, Megumi. The series follows their adventures in developing their game and their plans to sell it at the Comitech convention, as well as the emotional entanglements among the team. Yep. So I guess we can start with overall impressions.
Okay.
So
So,
what did you think?
all right. Well, I guess we should probably get it out of the way. This anime fucking sucks. It's boring and it's dog shit. It's the worst anime I've seen in a long time. I'm gonna make a confession right off the bat. This is the first anime I've ever watched at 2 times the speed by the end of it. Because watching the episodes were pure, boring garbage. I had to get through them as quickly as possible. This anime is also the reason we had a 3 month hiatus, because my motivation to watch anime was snuffed out and killed in the depression of the COVID-19 virus, topped with this anime on top. I was in the lowest position of my life because of this show. And now that I've come back and finished it, I really wish I never did.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and go and just say you are objectively wrong, and this is one of the best anime ever made. Everything about this anime just makes me want more of it, and yeah, you're objectively wrong. This is literally one of the best anime I've ever watched. I loved every last second of it, and I've actually watched it. Like I've watched half of it at least twice because I watched the first season of it twice. I haven't watched it all the way through twice, but I'm like really looking forward to the movie whenever we can get that stateside. Uh, so um, if I mean, I guess we can go into story and characters. The story, I think, like I pretty much covered in the summary, and I will say, going into this, the premise alone was enough to make me want to watch it because we are both like game developers. So this like stuff like this would naturally appeal like to me just because I actually know what it's like to go through that, but also the like anime that's like about creatives like ourselves makes it kind of like gives you that extra bit of relatability to the characters just going into it. I love the main character in the show. Tomoya is one of the best main characters I've seen in an anime. I'd say he's up there with he's probably up there with like the main character from Orosuki. Um,
I would disagree. Um, to me, and I criticize Orisuke a lot. Orisuke is on a whole different tier of quality versus this show. If I thought Orisuke, any shred of anything remotely bad in Orisuke, I take that back. If I had to watch Orisuke 7 times in a row versus watching this show again, I would watch Orisuke in a heartbeat. Orisuke actually did the meta jokes correctly. It did the comedy correctly. It had better characters, just better all overall everything. I think the biggest problem with this anime is it takes itself too meta too quickly, too much. It starts off with an OVA filler episode, so it already spits in your mouth as soon as you start the show if you watch it. So it was very confusing even just watching the first episode because the first episode isn't really the first episode. It's before they even started making the game, but then they're talking about the game. You really have no idea what the fuck is going on. So awful start to the series first off. Secondly, I mean, the characters are all just the tropes, and even though they make fun of the joke that they're the tropes, doesn't make it better. They're still the tropes. The characters are all stupid. I fundamentally hate the concept of a harem, and this is the anime that actually makes me remember why harem's such a terribly flawed anime. Because
but this
really,
is not a harem anime.
the reason I hate harem
This is not a
anime,
harem.
just to kind
This
of
is
go
not a
into
harem
a little bit
anime.
of detail about that, since obviously Noob here loves harem anime, and we'll probably be covering a lot
No,
more.
no, this is not a
Please,
harem anime.
please just note, like, the reason for that is because for me, I understand the fantasy of having a bunch of chicks in love with one character, and it might appeal to certain people, and I get that. I used to feel that way sometimes. But in the real world, it's actually really sad seeing all these girls loving this one character, and he treats them like shit. So every harem main character is an asshole, even if they are friends or they are more than friends. They basically lead on chicks the entire time, and it's a little bit disgusting to me. And it actually puts a sour taste in my mouth because all of these chicks are equally perfect, and it doesn't give me like any type of pleasure watching them all suffer because this one douchebag won't fucking pick one. So that's why I hate harem anime in general. And this show obviously struggles from that same thing, whether you want to classify it harem or not. It's still that same bullshit of like, okay, every character loves him, and like it's stupid, okay? It's just stupid writing, it's terrible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say from there. The overall story though about creating the game, I did find that somewhat intriguing, but again, other anime have done it so much better. Welcome to the NHK legendary anime comparison to this. It also struggled from the problem of being a little bit boring, but at least it wasn't a harem anime on top of it. It was more about the inner psychological problems of a person who is an otaku, and it's more realistic because it's not about how cool it is being an otaku. It's about the struggle of actually being isolated and the depression that it can cause, and it's an in-depth analysis of that and how to get over that. So it's actually a rewarding story to watch. This is just a bunch of dumbass fucking fake dumb kids fucking around, and then everything works out at the end.
No, no, it is not about that at all. I think you missed like maybe half. I'm wondering how much of the show you must have skipped in order to come to these
I
conclusions.
watched it at two
Like
speed. I even
so,
watched a couple
yeah,
episodes at three
I think at
speed.
2 speed you were missing like the whole point of the anime. I think the whole point like got skipped over at that double speed.
I don't think so.
Which the point like it is more about the actual process of developing a game. I do like that they really do show the struggles of trying to meet deadlines and like running into like that stagnation, that artistic block that you run into when you're like working on creative projects like that, and the stress, the overwhelming emotion you feel while working on it, and then seeing your product come to fruition and stuff. I also really do like the the how, like, the characters clash with each other, or like, while and it shows off, like, one thing too is, like, when you're collaborating, especially collaborating with a group of people for the first time, there's going to be clashes, like, between different personalities. And then on top of that, like, being able, like, having to be able to depend on other people on your team to be able to finish your responsibilities, and the pressure that you're putting on them, and in exchange, the pressure that they and other people on the team are putting on you. Another great thing about this anime, and I can't stress this enough, the characters. I don't think you really paid attention to the characters. Tomoya, like I said, one of the
Which one?
best
Which one is
MC.
that? That's how
He's the main
forgettable.
character. He's
Oh,
the
okay.
main character.
I couldn't even know if that was the male or
All right.
female. Because
All right.
again,
So, like,
the
you have the
characters
character,
are
you have the
boring.
character sheet open.
Yeah,
I
I'm
put a
looking at.
link to it
I'm
on
looking
the.
at it. I'm looking at it.
Yeah. So Tomoya was the main character,
Yeah,
and
look at
like I
this.
said, he's like
Wait, I just have to
one of the
mention
best MCs I've seen in a anime in a
this
long time.
character
I would put
sheet.
him up there with Joro, and you remember I love Joro.
This
So
character sheet though has 8 characters. The entire series, 8 characters, not including like minor, super small characters. 8 characters. That's it.
those 8 characters are really well developed, though.
No, they're not. They're all
Yes, they
fucking
are. Yes, they are.
equally
But
tropey
I would
garbage
rather have
characters.
a very few really well developed characters than a crap ton of underdeveloped characters. These characters are fully fleshed out, um, fully relatable human beings.
All
The
right.
I'm gonna go, like, I mentioned what I like about Tomoya, but let's talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and just flat out say it right off the bat, because I usually do end up talking about, like, the best girl in an anime for, like, every show we've done up to this point. Kato is the best girl, not just in this anime, but probably in, like, I put her in, like, the top 5 best girls in anime. Period. Probably at number 2 for me. You obviously know who number 1 is. So, but Kato is such a good character, and you know what makes this great is that she is normal. She's so normal in this anime, where every other character is kind of, like, over the top, and, like, they fall into certain extremes. Like, she's like this center point where she's, like, so normal that she contrasts perfectly with all these other characters, and it makes her stand out even more. Being normal made her stand out, just because,
All
like,
right.
of how
Okay.
great the other characters were, and
Love
how
love
great
or
their
hate
personalities were.
this
I like
show.
every huh?
I said love or hate this show. You got to realize. I want everyone who's listening to this to realize. The show is literally about a boring character. That's the name of the fucking show, basically. And this man is over here saying that the boring character is the best character, who is
Yes,
specifically
absolutely,
designed to be
absolutely.
boring and pointless and fucking worthless completely.
No, she wasn't designed to be worthless.
She is a template to which a male can fucking put his whatever fantasy he wants on her. The main character literally manipulates her into becoming the chick he wants, and he doesn't even actually want her. He doesn't want any chick. And rather the show acknowledge how fucking fucked up that is, they just play around with it like it's some fun joke. It's not a joke that a man
It's not, no,
likes
no.
anime chicks.
You clearly were watching the wrong
That
anime.
is a problem.
No,
I'm sorry
no.
to any weebs out there or fucking hardcore otakus that only like 2D girls. That's not how you should live life. It is not healthy, and this anime is not condoning it enough. And I'm not okay with that.
I think you might have watched, like, the cliff notes of the show, because he's not manipulating her.
He's manipulating her.
No,
He's like,
he's not.
you
No,
need to
no,
be
he's
how
not.
I
No,
want
he's
you to
not.
be. You need to talk like this. You need to be my fucking perfect fucking fantasy girl. And why did he need her to do that anyways? Why did he need her to do that?
What he was doing is because she like,
Was
had
living a
this
perfectly happy
where
life? Yeah.
no, she didn't have this high of an opinion of herself, but he realized early on, like first time he saw her, that there's something about her that she doesn't even see in
That's not
herself,
true.
and he
That's
was
not
trying to
true.
help
That's
her
not
see
true.
that
She
in
doesn't
herself.
change at all. No, she doesn't. She just didn't have many
She
friends.
does she
Oh
does
my
change. Like,
god.
her personality doesn't have to change for her to change. She
She didn't
changes
change.
because she does become more confident. She does
No,
see, like,
she just has
how much,
friends.
like, value that she brings to that group,
Nope.
and then she in turn gives that back to him and say, "Hey, this that not only am I valuable to this group, but so are you, and this group in general
Okay.
needs to exist."
Well, here's the thing. I just want to all that aside, I just want to say one thing here. Literally, the story of the game that they're making in this anime was 1,000 times better than this fucking pathetic anime itself. And that's all I have to say about the story, because the story fucking sucks. The character sucks. Literally, the imaginary fake story we only get snippets of was a better story than I would rather watch the anime of than this trash. And that's a fucking problem.
Mm,
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm
no,
wrong.
you're absolutely wrong. The what made this anime great, and something that I guess you missed when you're going at 2 times the speed, is the characters and their interactions with each other. That the way these characters develop, which is why I was kind of insistent that we do all 24 episodes rather than try to do 12 episodes at a time, because you need to get the entire story to really truly enjoy the show. Um, I could talk about Kato all day, and I'm sticking by the fact
We've
that
said
she's probably
enough.
in my top 5 of best girls of all time. Let's talk about some of these other characters real quick, and then we can go on into the story elements and why I think this story in general just worked out so well.
It
Uh,
didn't work. But
so
let's go.
Yudaha, what did you think of her?
Um, the tropey like authority, fucking big sister slash fucking president of the club or whatever the fuck
Slash
she's.
super hot waifu.
Yeah, I mean she's just the older one who's just kind of there.
But
Um,
like I
and
liked how aggressive she was with Tomoya.
yeah, I mean it's
She kept on
whatever.
calling him like, was it Mr. Ethical?
I didn't understand that. You want to explain that to me?
Well, I think she just thought that he was just like too perfect or something all the time.
I
But
guess.
after
I
after
don't
after
know.
she stole that kiss from him at the train station, she's like, "Oh, like, you're not really Mr. Ethical anymore. You're Mr. Unethical."
I
I
feel
was
like
like,
that must have been a joke that was lost in translation because again, falls completely flat. I didn't get the nickname. It was just kind of like whatever. I also didn't like their relationship. It made no sense. I mean, that's how all harem anime is. No
"This
reason
is
that all
not a
these
harem anime."
no reason all these hot chicks would like a dumb nerd guy anyways. But I mean, it appeals to the fantasy. So, I mean, also the fact that they like were somehow the most popular kids in the school, utter bullshit. I mean,
Oh, I mean, I could
listen,
picture that. Like, if
no.
everybody else in the school is close to as normal as Kato is,
Listen, I mean,
um,
you can like anime, you can be an otaku, but it doesn't have to be your fucking entire life, okay? I mean, I guess that's kind of what an otaku is, but there's still a
I
level of
mean, you say
otaku.
that, but you're literally doing a weekly podcast about anime.
Because I think anime as an art form, and this is not the art form part of anime. This is the fucking filler garbage sitcom trash. This is basically the equivalent of like reality TV. Like it's the same level of just watching bullshit fake drama. And it's not good. I prefer an actual traditional love story versus a harem any fucking day.
This is not a harem. This is so much more, and I
No,
think you
it's
missed that.
really not.
Just because a lot of the characters are female, and then your main character is a guy, does not automatically make it a harem.
It is a harem. It's classified a harem everywhere you look on the internet. Also,
I
most people
disagree with that
listen to me.
classification
I did look at some other reviews from other people across the internet. Most people agree with me. A really boring show. Most people question how it even got a season 2. The fact that it even got a movie is actually stunning to me.
because it is such a great anime, and it's seems to be heavily underrated, just judging from the reviews that you've watched, or either you went out and intentionally looked for reviews that validated your awful opinion.
No, you just look it up on YouTube, and everyone's like, "This anime is really boring." I'm like, "Yep."
Uh,
And I
well,
read
all those
reviews where it's
YouTubers are
saying
wrong. All of those
it,
YouTubers are wrong.
and
Uh,
I read articles where it's saying, "Oh yeah, the anime that tries to be so meta and pretend it's not a harem actually falls to its own tropes." It's really stupid. I mean, like if you want to watch a good anime about this topic, welcome to NHK. Much better anime we probably will cover in the future at some point. It's just better in every way, and it doesn't have all this fake fantasy harem shit in it.
it's not fake fantasy harem stuff. I could genuinely relate to some of the problems that some of these characters were going through over the course of
Well,
this
let's
anime.
just keep going
And
through the
speaking of stuff
characters.
I could relate to, let's talk about Eri. Her whole arc was great, and her whole
Man,
arc was so relatable, especially for anybody who has worked in any kind of on any kind of creative project.
well, here's the thing
Uh,
with her. I am always partial to the childhood best friend girl. That's the girl I always pick in harem. I just do. I think it's the best pick because the other ones they're fake. They don't know the main character, and the incest shit doesn't work for me. So really, just having a childhood friend that's not related to you is the best way to go because they know you the best as the main character. I would figure. So yeah, I mean, her character is kind of all over the place and crazy, but that's how they make the characters usually. So I mean, I don't know if her arc was that great either. I mean,
I think her arc was great because you see her going through this like creative block, and it's holding up the entire team. And then like it's you see her struggle with this
my thing
internally
is,
throughout the course of the story
I
too.
wish
And
that we saw
she comes to the
more.
point where she realizes that Tomoya, even though she has such a strong connection with Tomoya, she realizes that working with him is not going to be enough to motivate her to reach that next level that she's trying to reach in her creative art.
Well,
So
here's what I want to mention about that. To me, I think the reason her arc fails is we don't see the actual development. We don't see the struggle. Like
are
we
you
none
kidding
of,
me?
let me
She
explain.
physically
Let
gets
me
sick.
explain. I'm talking about the struggle of like what her art is. The problem with those development arcs for both of her and the other chick we just talked about, both of them are prodigies. Both of them are masters of their craft at a very young age, anyways. And for me to like, oh yeah, the only thing that's better, it's not like their art is getting better or their whatever's getting better. They're just getting more opportunities. So it's not a struggle of them fine tuning their craft and becoming better at their craft. It's really just them handling